Freedom. You tell me. Freedom? Yeah, it sounds like Star Trek. Yeah, remember the moron that kicked Kirk's ass? Freedom. At least he was smart. He had his woman with him. Yeah, yeah, she stuck by him. Freedom. No, I'm getting ready to go online. It's not like that. It's not like I see, dude. I yeah, and yeah, video after video after video. Okay, that's what it's like. Just one after another. It's like every time I see it, it's like purposefully staring at a bunch of knives that stab you in your face, right in your freaking eyes. One theologian is all I want. One. I'll crumble his ass like a Ritz cracker, and he can have some juice with it too. It's only going to take one. Somebody's going to be stupid. Somebody's got to get in the fucking ring here. This ain't right, Lord. And then that we'll have our day, won't we? And it's going to be a very good and sad day, man. Yeah. It's in reverse, right? What is this we have done? Your gods? You know? The clues and keys are all there, right? Elohim created. Now it's destroyed. Well, that sounds more like what this Elohim would do, okay? Well, stop calling yourself a god. That's what, hey, it's the facts. If he called them gods to whom the word came, and Jesus was the word and he came to us, then what does that make us? Yeah. Hi, God, or a God. We don't understand his teachings. We were part of the body, right? You know, you have to realize that the one spirit that's in me is also in you. Of one mind, one body, and one spirit. So that very same thing that gives the piece of shit that is me life, guess what? You get the same thing, only, I don't know, you've had more control over it over the years, haven't you? Look at how much Bible studying you've done. I see it differently. You've burned it into your eyes as far as how you should see it, and so you can't, you know, and I still love you, don't I? And you still love me, don't you? I don't know. Are you a liar? Let every man be a liar. No. Yeah. It's slavery, dude. It's slavery. And either you're, like a free and oblivious slave, you don't even realize it, or you are you know, uh, you know it, and then when you know it, it sucks. And I don't think anybody else out there realizes it, right? I mean, there's some people that feel the burden, but what they many in that sense, then what happens is, and pride takes over. So now they're judging. I don't have a burden. I'm free. I've been saved, right? And the proof that they don't turn their hearts then for these other poor bastards that are going into the fire is proof that they're really not saved, right? Is that love? Is that loving somebody like you're loved? Is that unconditional? I don't know. I know what unconditional love is. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, okay, great. I'm glad you can quote a Bible verse, dude. But that isn't what it means. Let me tell you something. If you've been in the military, okay? Yeah, Ra. You know what's funny? Ra, Ra means evil in Hebrew, and that's the Marine Corps cry. Ra. I wonder what the ooh part is. Is it ooh like EWE, sheep evil? Was it some kind of a message? No, no, seriously. No, dude. I haven't even had a beer yet. No, I made a rule. I drink when I'm online with my friends, so I can't drink yet. I told you I wouldn't drink alone. See? No, no, I didn't deceive you. You're the one who couldn't pick up on it. That ain't my fault. How do you think our Lord works, brother? Listen, when he says this, okay, when he says this, the Lord cannot tempt you. That's very true. But he gives you the desires of your heart. So if you ask for it, evil or not, he's going to give it to you. Why? He wants your heart to learn. He's engraving those laws in your heart. And the more bullshit he makes you eat, maybe it'll stick. Maybe you'll figure it out. Heart evil beyond all understanding. It is, because evil is what everything comes from and starts as. It's formed and made. Light and peace. Man was formed. Eve was made. His comforter, his peace. You know the word, what that says? It says rescuer is the woman. The woman is his rescuer. Yeah, it's not an option, is it? You wouldn't get it, man. Well, yeah. No. No, some are hacked their toys from the play with and shit, and then I got. Yeah, yeah. Duh. Okay. All right, man. Don't cut the hard line. I love you too. It works in both directions, you know. One day you're going to call me and I might not be here. Oh. Yeah, go store. I think about it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should grab everything and start just like pumping it into my garage. I can fulfill prophecy. If I jam my storehouse full and then tonight I'm out of here. Woo! Oh, God, the day. Please, Lord, let it be tonight. You like this place. I see another. Now, that another could be right here, but if ain't nobody wants to build it, I'm sorry, because all knowing is nothing about knowledge in your head. It's a verb, dude. Knowledge is a verb. Uh huh. Yeah. Well, when a man knows a woman, I'm sure there's a lot of action taking place, okay? Do you realize, hey, yeah, dude, today, you know what ruined this day for me was Joanne. Yeah. That was my first girlfriend, man. Yeah. Well, that was the one her mother found me sleeping in the doghouse out behind their house. It was raining. Yeah, I was out drinking with my buddies because man with giant beard even had face of fur when he was, in high school. And I must have looked cute, man. I wish I had I do have some pictures somewhere. Somewhere I got one with my baby face and like a nice, beautiful beard. And, I don't know. I think your hairs get kinked out. You shave them, cut them a bunch of times, and then the DNA gets jacked up or some shit. Because, like, my beard used to be like, like, remember on Santa Claus? What was that? The island of misfit toys. Remember the little elf? I want to be a dentist. Boy, could I use a dentist right now. Holy shit. Uh, no, no. But it was like I had to, yeah. No, somebody had to go buy the beer, but it was like, it was easy for me because I looked like a damn, I'd walk in there and they'd be like, looking at me. It's like, oh, I had a teacher, Mr. Naminsky. He had a goatee, you know, and he was cool, man. He was a biology teacher. I can I can imitate his voice because he talked like he was stuck taking a shit or something. Um, Today's class will be. No, really, he talked just kind of like that. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I would buy the beer, and and so we'd go out drinking, and then that was how I met Joanne. Yeah. Well, she caught me in the doghouse the next day. I was sleeping. The kids found me out there, kind of half hungover. I'm laying on my back with probably my mouth is hanging open. Yeah. Well, her mother walked up and she put a broomstick in my throat and wanted to know why I was in there. Obviously concerned for her kids. That's fair enough, right? I didn't know it was a damn playhouse. It was raining, dude. I had dog houses to sleep in. You could get into school on Friday nights when they had sports, and you could go take a shower and shit. So you could stay clean, eating lunch. Fucking school was my rescue. If there was no school system, I probably would have starved to death. Well, I or died from McDonald's because they didn't lock the dumpsters back then. You could go in there and you could flip the dumpster open and just yeah. Well, you throw newspapers in there, and then when they throw the shit out, you just pick it up. Yeah, it's in a bag, man. They just throw it out, at the end of the shift. They weren't fucking open 24 hours a day like now. They actually people had lives. Yep. Yeah. No, but then I moved in there, so she was like my first girlfriend, and we lived together, and hell yeah, 15. Yeah, she hooked up with some other guy, some other tall redhead. Though she was a short redhead. Damn redhead people. Every time. Trouble. Nothing but trouble. Joseph had red hair. Mm. You know what's funny? Their father got he died well it's not funny, but the mother was a widow and she was a drunk. I was the one who was taking care of the family. It was us. She was in bad shape, man. Her heart was broken. Her husband got hit with a rock, and this is weird, dude. Listen, so her yeah, more coincidence. Listen, her husband got hit in the forehead with one rock on his motorcycle, and then he died 3 days later. His name was Joe. Now, Joe gave birth to Joanne and Mary Joe and Betty Joe and the one little boy, my buddy Joseph. Joe, we go. But yeah, like I said, he died 3 days later. Just like he got hit in the head with a rock riding his motorcycle. What a big, no big deal. And so then she was a widow, and it took her down, man. That like the house, the place was a shambles. You know what it was? That's why she took me in. Don't make me cry, man. Brother, she woke me up with a broomstick in my throat. Yeah, I was pinned to the. Oh yeah. You know any martial arts stuff? Yeah. Well, under your collarbone is like more nerves than you can imagine, brother. You dig your fingers in there. It's called a hook. Oh yeah, that person will stand on their toes, their toenails, just begging for you to go pull in the other direction. You will have no. It's like the Spock pinch. It's actually under your collarbone. But she buried me to the ground with a freaking broomstick in my. And that's how I woke up, man. And the sun was behind her head. I couldn't even see her face. It was like an explosion. It was like, God, is that you? Woo! And she's like, what are you doing in there? And I just lost it. I'm like, I'm living on the streets. I got nothing. Yeah. Well, it's a good damn thing because then, like I said, I guess I kind of took care of that family too, right? Tragedy met tragedy. Yeah. She took me in. and then she forgot about teenagers with hormones. Yeah. No, hell no. Um, no, we never. No, I don't know. No, if she would have got pregnant, we would have got married. I ain't that kind of person. When I went in the Marine Corps, her and her husband, when I called her because she hooked up with him, I got out of high school, and then I went home. That's how I went in the Marine Corps, right after high school. Well, I went home and I wound up on welfare, and I didn't want to be on welfare, so it's like I was a freaking Volkswagen mechanic, man. Had been working on Volkswagens for almost 5 years already. I could, pull engines, rebuild trannies. If I didn't like you and your transmission was noisy, I would just stuff it full of fucking bananas and be done with it. And you'd drive away for about 5,000 miles, and then it would blow up. Holy shit, you can get away with a Volkswagen. But I couldn't get a job, man, and so I wound up. That's how I wound up in going in the Marines. Yeah, yeah. I talk about it now. It's like I could have taken a government check from the welfare and not had to kill anybody, and instead I took a different government check with feeling better about it because then my job was to go out and destroy. Yeah, wonderful, huh? Hoorah! That's like I said. That's Hebrew, man. I should check that out and see what that other word means you know, in Hebrew. I bet you it's like everything else. He's all over us. It's like uh, some people, some people, can say God is omnipresent, dude. I'm fucking terrified. God is not a thing. He's a thing to me. It exists is the best I can say, and that's what upsets you because you're like you're calling God it, and it's like because I can use a calculator to prove it. I'm sorry you can't accept that, and you think I'm lying. Bet me my life, soul, world, and I'll prove it to you. Oh, that day when I get to do that, and that's why because I know it. I don't bet on nothing unless I know I'm gonna get it, man. And I'm heart, soul, money, all of it sold out in 5 years running, and I can't bust through to the other side. It's like Jim Morrison or some shit, right? The day divides the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Yeah, sure. You can't hide from God. Break on through to the other side. Well, I know I'm not at peace. That's because I know I can give a whole hell of a lot more peace. If this seed dies, magnified. Well, I got no soil to bury it in. Yeah. Hey, I'm not alone. You're here. Listen up, buddy. It's not a fish. How in the hell does that sound like a fish? I thought you used to drink beer, man. It's a can top. A fish. Queek, queek, queek. Yeah. No, I'm waiting to go online. Yeah. Well, you called it the right second. Well, there you go. All right, dude. Yeah. Hot dogs. No, man, I'm the fucking wizard. I know it sounds humbling, right? But it's like it's amazing what you can do with a freaking tube steak, you know? Cut some slices in it and burn it. That's the first thing you got to do, right? That boiled dog thing, that's kind of yeah, creepy. Yeah. No, ketchup? Ugh. No. No, 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 no. See, yeah, oh, well, I use completely organic ketchup on my hot dogs. Unprocessed. Yeah. Tomatoes. Yeah, tomatoes. That's how you put ketchup on a hot dog. Okay, you ask any Chicago boy, we'll tell you. Put the tomatoes in there. If you're crazy, you can put the cucumbers on there too. Yeah. Coleslaw. It's easy. I make mine sweet, so it's like to me, it's like I eat it like dessert, man. I just snack on that stuff. Yeah. Well, the rabbit likes his veggies. Yeah. Nah, today I think I'm gonna make yeah. I don't know. I think I should create something today. But I think today I'm gonna make a salsa out of cherries and cherries, onions. I got some cilantro I can throw in there. It's dried, but you know. And what else would go with that? Tomatoes. Got to have a tomato. I can bring them, man. Yeah, I'm sick of bringing you. Eh, I got tired of it. You know, it was nice to go and have a that. You know, those. Yeah, you got sick of it too. Okay, it was a good reason to come and drop by, right? Yeah. Have a Whopper Junior. I don't know. I think it's the mayo that's on there. It's got that mayo goo stuff, but it's kind of sweet. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's how the mind works. Now you want one until you taste it. I used to call it McDonald's disease because like McDonald's always tastes exactly the same. So after a while, you just go, ugh, you know. But that's what you want is consistency. You don't want to show up and you can get enough of that when you go through the drive-through and you're like, can you not put your plastic on top of my burger, please? But it's a double cheeseburger. You're missing out. Just keep that crap off my burger. And then you drive away and then you look and here's a cheeseburger and it's like, oh, son of a bitch. Yeah, that's the variety that you get, at McDonald's. No. Dude, I got a nugget. I got a chicken nugget that has something buried in it. Looks like a part of a machine. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I wrote a little letter, like a note, left my phone number and all that shit. Nobody ever called. Oh hell yeah, I probably could have got a lawyer and well, it's in my freezer. I got it. It's frozen. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know if they wanted it. Maybe their machine's freaking falling apart and they should have like a tech bulletin come out, like like they did for cars when I worked on them, or helicopters when I worked on them, or CNC machines when I worked on them, or laser engravers when I worked on them, or whatever. If you're going to be technical, use your freaking brains. Our world is so full of data, the whole damn thing, and we don't use it right. And we're all afraid of each other is the problem. Everybody. Oh, they're going to come and get me. They want this from. And then the more that you hoard, the less that you have. It's kind of like stupid. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. I think we should get together and try. Don't you see? You've been looking around a while. I got. No. No, that's fucking beyond my time, brother. I'm picking on you now, you old bastard. All right. Tell him I said hi. I love him. Yep. Well, you know me. I don't know how to stop unloving, or I don't know how to stop loving somebody, man. I just don't do it. I can't. Now I know it's a command. I don't have a choice. Jesus said, and you do. It's that simple. Oh, dude. No, okay. Then you can go. All right. Most important verse in the Bible. Whole thing. If Jesus is the Messiah, okay? I'll throw that out there. But I'd say either way because I understand. John 2:5. Nope. You gotta go look. You're like, what? All right. All right. Yep. Fucking Ray. I'll drink anyway. That wouldn't be right. That'd be a lie. It's fucking hot in here. Oh. Holy moly. Have you cast me into the lake of fire, Lord? Let there be air conditioning. Wow, look at that barometer. We got clear skies today. Hey, dude. Ooh. Holy shit. 29 minutes. I don't know what you might have watched, because I don't know how long you've been here. Well, that's who I am. That's what I am. Hi. The hell did I title this stream? Hi. Can you imagine having me as a friend? Hmm. Be pretty rough on you, wouldn't I? I love all my friends. I love everybody because I found the most important verse in all of the Bible. It is John 2:5. If I can find it. So I just whip it open and look what's there, man. Ephraim feeds on the wind. Wow. Ephraim. I know that name. Ephraim feeds on the wind, on the spirit. Do you know what Ephraim means? Double ash heap, I think. I'd have to go grab my Hebrew to English. Wonder if I had a concordance. No, that ain't gonna tell me anything in here. Will it? Is there a concordance in this thing? You know what? I think there's a concordance in my giant one. But I don't know. Oh wow, I'm so in friendship mode here. Like I'm just like oblivious to what's going on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're live streaming now. Let's see if Ephraim is in the concordance in this thing. What the? Wait, what was that? Is that a trashed page? Oh, no, no. What is that? Oh. Well, I can tell you exactly when I went to go retrieve my motorcycle. So I picked up my motorcycle, leaving for Chicago, May 25th, 2011. One-way ticket, valid for 1 year from date of sale. And it was in 1 Peter 1:25 on page 1888. But the word of the Lord stands forever. I love the top of the page, man. It's just got good stuff. Ephraim. All right. Focus. Focus. Let's see if we can see what Ephraim means. Oh, does it? Ephraim. Doesn't tell you what Ephraim means. All it has is the definition. One of Joseph's sons, one of the tribes of Israel. Its members were descendants of Ephraim, a name for the northern kingdom of Israel after the 10 tribes of Israel. Okay, so double ash heap. Double ash heap. And that was north, and north is where the direction where the Lord Spirit goes to get comfort, right? So this is even helpful here. Everything's helpful. There's just too much information to plug in, but every time I see it, it only goes in one way, right? It just kind of, hi, how you guys doing? It just kind of all hooks in that way. Um, hmm. All by the name. Pay attention to the name. But I believe that Ephraim means double ash heap. Because who was it that he blessed from Joseph? Wasn't it Ephraim and Manasseh? And that was where he said, no, bless this one first and switch the hands around. That whole switcheroo on the hands is to like try and make the crisscross between good and evil. Um, like to almost like to change the time. What he did by crossing his hands was almost like to make a tav. You know what a tav is? The very last letter of the Hebrew alphabet? Okay, it's like God's stamp. Boom. 400. Marked and sealed. Things happen in 400s all the time. There's a 400-year gap between the Old Testament and Jesus showing up. Nobody seems to realize that. There was a 400-year gap between between 1620 and 2020 when all our troubles started. 400s all over the place. Pay attention to these things in Scripture and pay attention to how you can apply this word to real life, and then you'll be able to see prophecy right in front of your face. And if you can, you'll start to catch up to it. Like it'll happen, and then you'll be able to look around in here, and you'll go, oh, I see why that went down like it did now. And then there's some other stuff will start happening around you, and you'll go, oh, I can see what happened here. And then after a while, there's the time goes away, that little transition thing of going, I can see why it happened, to I can see when it's about to happen. And that's oh shit. I'm not kidding. I just like looked down, and what's the very first word I've seen? Right there. Doom. Well, alrighty then. Doom, to make certain, to fail or be destroyed. Fate, condemnation, ruin. We're in trouble. Anyway, John. 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 There is John. Oh, look at this cute little bookmark I used to do. Oh man, that must have been important. See, I don't like to write in my Bible, so I stick notes and tags. But see the we? That's actually from my work. It was we to the third was going to be our logo. We, like us, to the third power. But that little marker I put in there is actually pointing at whose son is the Christ. Oh my God! This is so important to me. And I marked that. Oh, this was long before. Wow, holy moly. I just found a bookmarker that I made on something that at this point in my ministry is so important to me right now. But I could say that about every bookmark, because now I know all of it. But here, whose son is the Christ? This is when Jesus stuffed a sock in the mouths of the Pharisees. Okay? Sorry, guys. No contest, Your Honor. I move to dismiss the case. He confused the hell out of them with this. And it's not that hard to understand. What you need to understand is that you are a son of, before I read this, you are a son of man. Okay? That son of man is like your spirit that's inside of you. When it's written, and God so loved the earth that he gave his only begotten son, It's not talking about the earth, the world. It's talking about the dirt. He so loved the earth, the dirt that he had made, that he put his son inside of it, and it's inside of you. The son always does what he sees his father doing. Which father do you honor? But that son is inside of you. You are this person that is going to be spoken of right here, okay, in Psalm 110. You. Then Jesus said to them, how is it that they say the Christ is the son of David? David himself declares in the book of Psalms. Now, this is very poorly, this is a shit translation if there ever was one, because it misses something here. It says, David himself declares in the book of Psalms. I know that's not what that verse says. Not in the King James, anyway. It says, why does David, speaking in the Spirit, that's so important to understand. Because Jesus kind of adds to a little bit of a definition to the Scripture. He doesn't change the Scripture, but he puts some very important context on it. That David was speaking in the Spirit. Okay? Your Lord is the Son of Man, the Spirit that's inside of you. That's your Lord. So when the Lord says to my Lord, he's referring to like my will, my desire, my spirit, everything that it is that's me, okay? When the Lord says to, it's like saying it to me, but the Son of Man isn't always good. The Son of Man can be bad. The Son of Man is Adam and his descendants. And we have to repent, as in Numbers 23:19. So when David, the Lord said to my Lord, so God, Yahweh, okay, said to my Lord, me, he's basically giving instruction to me. But my spirit has to obey it or not. He is spirit, right? Our Lord is spirit. Spirit gives birth to spirit. It has to transition from spirit to me somehow. And that is how it does it. And the Son of Man either serves God as then Son of God, or if he rejects it through either fear of serving, I can't do that. God, are you crazy? I can't love my enemies. What? Feed, pray? What? No, I must destroy them so, they can't come back and get me later. You've screwed up. But when the Lord says to your Lord, that's the only part that you have. So that Son of Man has to be lifted up, the importance of that. Your choice and your free will. The importance of which way your Son of Man, that Son of Man has to be lifted up and exalted. That Son of Man that's inside of you, that's your cross. That's your woman. The woman that's inside of you has either sons of God or daughters. That's the vision that's given in the book of Revelation. That's you struggling to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to do the right thing. Guess what? You just birthed a son. It goes to heaven to rule forever because it'll last forever because it's good. Well, guess what happens if you go the other route? No worries. You then gave another woman. Well, guess what happens? Well, that's okay. She'll still create more seeds. That's what happens. But that's kind of like throwing more wood into the fire, right? The idea is to let the fire die down a little bit. Or at least to understand it, that we're in the lake of fire right now and being refined as we speak. How was my week? It's not there yet, but I can drink a beer now. How's that? All right. But it says, Jesus said to them, how is it that they say that the Christ is the son of David? The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. And even that psalm is misinterpreted. Your enemies being a footstool for your feet doesn't mean that you get to rest your foot. Remember, the dove has no place to rest her foot. The dove that was released from the ark, that landed on Jesus. The dove, the spirit of which is God, if it can remain on you, the things of God will be revealed to you, because then you'll have the eyes of God. You'll be able to see. You'll be lifting your eyes to heaven, not like this, but to give your eyes to God, so that He can use you. He'll see through you. It's how Peter, when you realize when Jesus said that, Simon Bar Jonah, that means stumbler. Simon is stumbler. Stumbler, son of dove. Jonah means dove. So that's why he said flesh and blood could not have revealed that to you, son of dove. In other words, the dove created the son. The Spirit created him. Made him, I would be the better way to put it. Made. Created is not a good thing. Go read Isaiah 45:7. David calls him Lord. How then can he be his son? Now, can you see what he says? How is it that they say the Christ is the son of David? Now, since I've just told you that the Son of Man or the Christ, the Lord, that is already in you, this, what you are looking for, the Christ, He's not out there. If you can't look in the mirror and not be ashamed maybe to say, He's in me, I get it. I'm like, you're one. You've been, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of different words for it. That's what it meant when Enoch was translated. He was the Word, became flesh. He was translated from being Enoch to being more than Enoch. You couldn't see Enoch anymore, even though he was probably standing right in front of your face. He was right there. And I don't mean he was invisible. I'm saying he was so changed, so marred beyond recognition of any mortal man. Sound familiar? We think of marred, we think of marred and marked, and these words are not, we're not using them with enough flexibility, because those definitions are used in other ways all over the place. And all we've done, suffice to do, is to use pride and fear to paint ourselves into a corner where the God that we should embrace and love and serve willingly, because we see where the blessings are going to come from. Yeah, see where the blessings are gonna come from. It's right in here. It's all truth. And instead of that, pursuing the blessing, because we ashamedly turn away or fear to do what it is that we're just told we need to do. You can think of it as commandments. I don't care if it's advice. This is good counsel in here. And it's as good as being alive. If the Bereans did not study this and looking for, no, they lived it. They lived it. And I talked to somebody yesterday, and yeah, she knows what it means. that Lord and that relationship and how that all works. And it was like just like a beautiful thing to see that, you know, this person's husband, he's not a Christ follower, okay? But yet he does all the right works. He doesn't screw anything up. Nothing. He is the perfect husband. She's so blessed, right? It's well, at least there's one out there, right? All right, let's work on the rest of them. and and she can see that even though he doesn't profess to know our God or Jesus or anything like that, guess what? He's still doing all the works. And I told her, I go, do you realize that he is serving a God that he does not know? He doesn't know him here. But what is knowing? Knowing is what comes out of you. In other words, when a spirit knows you, you produce the fruit of that spirit. And he is producing spirit of a God that he does not know. And so I said, look, I go, do you know you could speak to him, or somebody could, and just explain to him, as Paul did, if you could understand the teachings of Paul, what it means to serve the unknown God of like the Greeks, right? And it would be a piece of cake. And then guess what? He'd have an understanding of how we see it. He would have an undeniable. What do you think? He's going to stop doing good once I show him how he's still working for God? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? For that person to just stop doing good because they're going to go, no, I won't do it then if that's God. That would be the evil spirit, right? But instead, guess what would happen? I'd be like removing the veil from his eyes so that he could see. She's already appreciated it. She knows. So it's like, she knows she doesn't have to do anything to him to change him. No force feeding, no nothing. What's almost comical is she can actually silently enjoy in her secret place, right? God at work through this person that doesn't even know it, because she understands what it means, that spirit, that Lord inside of you that has to choose what it's going to do. Oh, we can run, but we can't hide. And you know that these are all written in a very specific order. It's not. It may look like it's random, right? Because what does he say? David calls him Lord? How then can he be his son? And see, what we don't get is, in the same way that God beget his son and put his son in the earth, right? He put his son in here, and then from this son and this earth, what we create are then sons, okay? Or daughters. How then can he be his son? While all the people were listening, Jesus said to his disciples, beware of the teachers of the law. They like to walk around in flowing robes and love to be greeted in marketplaces and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor and at banquets. They devour widows' houses. Okay, is he talking about them going after widows? Or is there a spiritual meaning there? There is always the spiritual way to interpret these scriptures. And if you don't, you totally missed what Jesus was talking about, that the Spirit reveals all truth. And to devour a widow's house. Okay? Who is a widow? She is somebody that does not have a husband. So somebody that doesn't know God, the Lord, our Lord, anything to do with our, the things that we believe in, they are as a widow because they do not have a husband to help them, right? When he's saying that you devour the widow's houses, he was accusing them of being so wicked as to use their religious spiritual power wrongfully, harshly, unjustly, and even in an oppressive kind of manner. When Jesus said, "You don't lift your finger to ease the burden," he wasn't saying, "Hey, help me move my couch." No, he was talking about this thing, okay? The yod. My yod has 5 fingers because mine is a yod of grace. And what he was saying was, you don't move your finger to a different part of the scriptures that you could ease the burden of these people. Okay? Instead of letting this law be so oppressive where you're going to ruin them, God ain't judging them. You are. Okay? If God was judging them, you just have to back up and say, okay, God, go for it. That's what Jesus expected. And it works. Why? Because if somebody's doing something wrong, evil, the dead will bury the dead. Always. Don't help. There's no reason to help. Plow forward. Don't kick the goads. Forget about what's behind you. Let the dead bury the dead. The law can take care of itself as our God can. Does not need to be enforced. Give me your depraved action, and I'll show you in the law where it doesn't have to be enforced. When Jesus said, move your finger, what he wrote on the ground for those people that were going to stone him and that woman. Okay, Exodus 21:12 and Leviticus 24:17, both of which say that if you take cause the death of a human, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, you're to be put to death. Okay? So how do you enforce a law that the law says that I'm going to be put to death if I do that? Well, no, but it's special for you because you were enforcing the law. Well, then I say that the law sucks and you don't understand it. And that's what they didn't understand, was how the law is to be interpreted spiritually, so that it's not harmful, so that it's not terrible, so that you don't boil the baby in the mother's milk. So simple, isn't it? Who's the baby? That's the son. Don't let the mother's milk, the Torah, the teachings, the law, don't let it destroy the kid. Give him a chance. He'll figure it out. He'll know, how does it say? Before he can speak, he'll know good and evil in the land of milk and honey, or whatever. They like to walk around in flowing robes and love to be greeted in the marketplaces and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses. In other words, they destroy those who don't know about our God. Because you can use our God against people, right? You know that, right? Been happening for a while. And for a show, make lengthy prayers. Such men will be punished most severely. And then comes what? Then the widow's offering, right? Well, he just talked about him robbing the widow's house, right? But who are the widows? They're the sick, the destitute, the unrighteous, the unjust, the depraved. Why? Because they don't have a husband. They don't have a husband. This is even what Jesus was talking about at the well. Okay? That's why she said he knew he was a prophet. It wasn't because she had 5 husbands. It's because he was talking in numbers. 5 is the number of grace. Right here in the widow's offering, he's going to show just exactly how important a widow can be, even though she doesn't have anything. Okay? What did the woman offer? Two mites. Well, that's the interesting thing about depravity and darkness and even evil. It gets two chances. It gets a chance to make evil, and it gets a chance to make good. And that only happens with evil. Okay? You cannot use good to make evil. Only evil can make evil. Okay? But you can use evil to make good. Why? Because evil has no rules. Rahab lied. Was that bad what she did? According to the law, yes. According to God or the Spirit, no. Spirit of the law versus the letter of the law is what Jesus was teaching about. And that law is said to give us a hope and a future and so on. And if that doesn't happen, well, then guess what? We have failed the law. We have destroyed a world, as it's put. As he looked up, Jesus saw the rich putting their gifts into the temple treasury. He also saw a poor widow put in 2 very small copper coins. I tell you the truth, he said, this widow has put in more than all the others. All these people gave their gifts out of their wealth. But she, out of her poverty, put in all she had to live on. And it's life to the full. When I don't know, what is the maximum glory of God? If you could see the glory of the Lord, how would you envision it, right? Would it be just a bright, brilliant light that outshined everything else, and just like nothing else matters, right? This is just like consumed and taken over. I can't see anything. I can't even see anything else. There's nothing but whatever that is, right? And that is the glory of the Lord. Well, what about evil then? And that is what it is. Even evil kind of doesn't count. It's so outshined and blasted over upon that it is just whatever it is. It's not good, it's not bad. It is a opportunity that's hidden. You know, when it says that Satan comes as an angel of light, that is evil coming to you as an opportunity to do what? I don't know. Start a war between a father and a son. Who's Satan's father, right? Start a war between those two. Claim them for the other side. The light that is shining in the darkness is literally evil itself. Darkness. But the darkness doesn't understand it. And to teach people that their heart is so depraved that they're screwed up, that, to tell somebody that you've claimed that our God, the God, created junk and chaos and then threw it into the world useless and needing to be repaired and reclaimed and everything else. Now, being redeemed, everything is redeemed. Everything. An empty can will get you a nickel, maybe 10 cents, depending on where you are, right? Everything gets redeemed. It's cause and effect. And so then, is there a purpose for evil? Yes. It's to teach us to do good. And to let us keep breaking ourselves until we get it right. Or until we wear out like a garment. And there you go. Let's dumpsters dive. How about right here? Let's see that. First Chronicles. Ooh, I like this. There were 24,000 men in his division. Why is it always like that? 12,000, 24,000, 12 times 12 times 1,000, 144,000. These numbers in here. Oh, and there were 12 divisions. For the 12th month was Heldai, the Netophathite, Netophathite. Wow, Netophathite. I think that's one that you say if maybe you got a hair lip. See, God made jobs for everybody. Get them over here. In charge of the first division for the first month was Jashobim, son of Zabadiel. So if this is the first month, this is a list of the Israelites. Now remember, when I see Israelite, anybody could be an Israelite. If you are a person that understands that God prevails, no matter what, God prevails, that changes your life. Because that means that, well, if he's for you, who can be against you, right? You sit in a different spiritual realm than anybody else. You should have the stiffest of all necks. I ain't doing that. That would upset my God. And I know. Okay? So like Israel, wow. Oh, this is gets better. Look at the page I opened it up to. That was random, guys. You ready? What do you see? Can you see it? 666. I opened it up. Are you afraid now? Run, run. I love this number. You know why? Because it taunts me. When it shows up, I know I'm onto something good. And what I mean is that I'm trying to be chased off. Let me tell you about this number. Me and this number go way back. This actually happened in this town. I have records to prove. I have records to prove everything. I don't lie. You wanna? I beg anybody to go. This guy's just full of shit. He's talking crap. He never robbed a gas station, stole a bunch of cars when he was 14. That's crap. He never stole a car and took it to, Metropolis, Illinois, and spent 3 days in jail where the last, eclipse made an X over that, put God's stamp on that jail cell. He was never a thief in the night that was helped by a black man to get there. Oh, yeah, man. I got so many coincidences in my life. But in this town, I was dating this girl, and we were doing what dating people do. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, go ahead, sinner or whatever. I tell the truth. There's no deceit in my mouth. I won't do any violence either, just like the scriptures say. Yeah, I was leaving her house on the way to work on a Saturday night, and the church parking lot was full, and I would have gone to that service instead of, getting in a few extra inches before I head into work, right? And I'm passing the church, and I said, Lord, I'm tired. I'll go next week. or I said, I'll go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. I drove by, like, oh, Lord, I'm tired, Lord. I'll go tomorrow. And I said that. And you want to know what happened about maybe exactly a mile up the road? I should, I should, I should do that. I should drive that out and see what the distance is on that, because that would be interesting to find out. And you'll see why numbers are so important here in about 50 seconds or so. Well, I had a little car accident, and I missed a turn. Okay? That's exactly why the accident happened, because I missed a turn. And what happened? The guy wound up cutting my car on the right side. I went across the front of his car. He was at a stop sign. I hit a bunch of gravel in my car. I'm driving fast, so I hit this gravel. My car starts to slip. And if I would have just stayed on it, I would have been okay. But what happened? I had that seed of doubt. I just skipped church. And so what happened? I went straight. I missed the turn. And I clipped this guy, and this guy's now telling me that he's had 3 accidents with this car, the exact same thing. He's telling me now. He's sitting here just like, he looks like I, you know, sucker punched him or something, because he's like in a daze. And I'm like thinking, I gotta get the hell out of here, right? We gotta take care of this, because the cops are gonna show up. And I just want to pay you for this little scratch and whatever, and we'll be done with it, because otherwise my insurance is going to be impacted. They're going to see all this crap. Let's just take care of it on our own, right? Is that failure to report an accident? I don't know. I think it depends on how much you're going to fix the accident for, right? So I thought I was going to get a good deal from him, because he fixes cars, he paints them, he does everything. I figure we're good. Well, I call into work and say, hey, I'm not coming in. I had a car accident. Okay. And so I go home, put in a few more inches. And Sunday morning now, when I'm leaving her house, I'm passing the church. And I said the exact same thing, except I'll go next week. You know what? Let me tell you how close next week showed up. As soon as I said that, a bolt of lightning hit the freaking road right in front of my car. Okay? I got witnesses in the church that'll tell you. They stopped the service because it was so loud. And then because they record the services and the music and whatever, so they can play it later. Oh, I got a testimony on tape somewhere. And I say, I'll go next week. Lightning bolt hits a road, and that knocks me out. Well, I just happened to be in a turbocharged SS, and my foot went to the floor. And when I woke up, the last thing I, could realize was, I said, oh shit, oh shit. I probably dropped an F-er, I'm sure. And I slammed on the brakes as hard as I could. No seatbelt. 2.5 blocks of full-on throttle. I don't know how fast I was going, but I slammed my car underneath a Ford F-250 at the stoplight. Stopped at the stoplight. Nice trailer hitch, went right through the intercooler. Put a big giant hole, hoods. I jacked that car up really bad. Well, guess what happens? It's still drivable, believe it or not. I couldn't believe it. With a hole in the intercooler and everything, the thing still ran. So I'm driving it around, for the rest of Sunday. I didn't go cruising around just having fun, but it's like, at least it still moves. And I go to meet this guy. Now, Patrick was his name. His name was Patrick. Yeah, I think his name was Patrick. He was Catholic kid. And he was not St. Patrick, because, I gave him his check to fix his car. All right. And then he said, well, let's go look at yours and we'll write an estimate and we'll see. And he works on cars, and he's seen my car, and he's going, wow, you ever seen what happens when you put the injectors in there? Go turns into holy go, and he's like telling me all this stuff he wants to do to the car, that he's going to fraudulently jack up all my prices so that I can afford it, right? Through my insurance company. But he's going to do the work. So, actually, my insurance company wasn't going to be involved. It was just him. But when he finds out that it's going to be insurance, then he starts getting into that. And I'm like, forget it, man. No, I don't play that game, you know. I don't lie, I don't cheat, I don't steal, I don't fraudulently do anything. Nothing do I do against the law that I am aware of, okay? You're going to have to like sneak up and, show me where wearing plaid on Tuesdays is illegal or some shit. You know what I mean? But it's like it's very simple to me. The laws are very simple. Uh, there's times when you might have to bend those laws. You're told to stay away from your neighbor's kids. Well, she's left them perhaps drowning or in danger in a pool. That becomes my job then, okay? That's when that's when the spirit takes over for the law, right? But I don't tell any junk. I don't have to. And so I blow this guy off, and I'm like, oh, forget it, man. And I said, I thought you said you were religious, is what I said to him. And he goes, I am. I'm Catholic. And I was like, just, well, great way to represent my friend. See you later. So I go to my insurance company, and it's interesting because they wound up kind of stealing my car because they knew it was worth a lot of money as a wreck, because I didn't even have 30,000 miles on it. So my car's like a brand new car, ready to be disassembled and given to anybody, and they knew it. And they told me that I could not buy my car back in the state of New York, which was a blatant lie. You want to know what the guy's name was, my adjuster? His name was Jordan. You want to know what Jordan means? Descender. Interesting, hey? So guess what happens when they're writing off my car, and they got to give me a check because I got some equity, right? The bill to repair my car from that wreck. It didn't get totaled yet. So they had to give me the money to repair it. You want to know how much the bill was? $6,006.06. Struck by lightning. Boom. Another time that 666 number came up, I was on my way to work, and I was late. I'm always last minute, man. I'm always last minute Louie. Now I'm always early. Now I go the speed limit wherever I go. Under the speed limit. I just don't care. It's like I'm not in a hurry. I don't hold up traffic. If you're behind me, I'll do stupid things. I'll pull into a left turn pocket, let you pass, and then I'll just jump back into traffic. It's like I'm not holding people up, but I'm not in a hurry. I know what's waiting down there is exactly what I need to get to and what I need to see and be and all that. But it's very aggravating when you can see what should have been 2,000 years ago. I just want to add that in there, all right? But another time, like I said, I'm on my way to work, late, and I make this crazy move. I go all the way into the left lane, and when the light takes off, I'm going to have to stomp on it and cut off like 3 lanes of people to make a right turn. Okay? Full on Tijuana driving here. It's like I know I can make it because I got almost a half a block, and I know how the people go. You just got to time it and stuff your way through, right? Not very kind and polite, but traffic moves the way it does. The people in front aren't going to stop. They want to keep going. The person behind you, when you catch them, they're going to give you a little bit of room, which might cause an accident behind you, but they should be watching for that. Anyway, I look to my right, and here's this lady in a wheelchair, and she is sitting outside the back of the car with the trunk up, and sitting there in a wheelchair, just all by herself. And nobody's helping this person. And I'm kind of sitting at the light, right? And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, and then I look in front of me, and what happens? The truck that's in front of me right now has on its license plate 666. And as soon as I saw that number, I said, "Oh hell no, you ain't winning now. Ain't no way." I'm we're I was already in the left lane, so now I pull off onto the left shoulder, which was a good thing because if I was in traffic, I don't know how I would have got to her. So watch how this works out. I pulled off to the left shoulder, run through traffic because it stopped to her. I get to her, change. She needed a tire change and she was on the way to like some appointment or something. You miss your appointment, sometimes you don't, some appointments are special and you can't get another one like that. It's like, well, sorry. And so I'm fixing her, they didn't know how to assemble the car jack. It was a really old car and it had the long jack with the cluster, the knuckle, and there's no hook on it. It just has like a little tab that goes in a slot in the bumper, and you got to pray that the bumper's not all rotted out. But you hook that thing in there, right? They don't know how to work in this stuff. They're women. I fix it up, get them going. She, as I'm leaving, trying to get back to my car, and I figure I'm late for work, right? I'll just have to say, hey, see this little sticker that says "We Three"? We're supposed to be all about community and all of this. Okay, that's what I was doing. Hopefully they won't jam me, but I had to do what I had to do. So I get her going. She's gone. She's leaving now, and what does she do? She literally hands me $2. Right? It might have been three. I think it was two, but she's like, here, and I'm like, that lady, that looks like it's all you got. It's like, I go, you know what? I go, if it makes you feel better, if you go to church on Sunday, throw that thing in the offering for me. Okay? I'll see you later. And I run back to my car. And guess what? I drove to work. I was on time. I was on time. And people don't want to hear those kinds of stories because that ruins reality. I don't know what it was up. Maybe I looked at my clock and it was wrong. Maybe I set my clock wrong. Maybe all the maybes. But I'm going to tell you what. As far as I knew, I was late as shit and enough to jump in the left lane to cut a bunch of people off to make a right turn at the light. Okay? I was doing I'm not the only guy. Actually, what you do is you let some other crazy fool do it, and he screws everything up. And everybody on his other side is going, ah! And all he does is he's like throwing a rock in the pond, and he makes a wave for you, and you just cut around. It's like, don't use my tricks. I thought of them first. But that's how you can do it, right? And I was going to be late, and you know what? I wasn't. Oh my God, the ways the Spirit has moved in my life has just been incredible. My mother-in-law was laying on her deathbed. One prayer later, miracle cure. Her incurable disease, diabetes, doesn't exist anymore. Doctors scratching their heads, we don't know what the hell happened. Okay, well, I could tell you, but you won't accept it. See you later. It was God. Times I had to meet my wife or do something or just go somewhere, whatever. I went for a motorcycle ride the other day, and I just don't do that anymore. I'm on here. I'm hoping some theologian will see me and call my bluff, and then we're going to crack open the biggest rotten egg to ever hit the damn planet Earth, and we're not going to like it, but it's a fact and it's truth. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in God. I'm trying to show you how we've screwed up, and God has gotten the best of us. Kind of like we say, well, God jokes with us. It's like you get out whatever it is you put in kind of thing. Okay? And we think we're mocking him. The irony is, if you kind of then look at history, you'll see how we're being mocked, right? Does that mean that God doesn't exist? I don't know. How much time do we have to throw at this little quote-unquote experiment here before we can see that we are victims of this book? It is something that can't be conquered. You either, I don't care how you say do what it says or why it's here or who wrote it. It doesn't matter who wrote it. It is the truth, and you cannot deviate from it without suffering. Okay? Even the 10 Commandments can't be broken. You're like, sure they can. One says, you'll have no gods before me. I can have other gods. No, you can't, because there's a spiritual realm, the firmament, and Yahweh is that door, and he sits right here. Any other gods, spirits that you are dealing with, they're up there above him where they said they would be. We will raise our stars above yours. Yes, but who filters, who controls what actually comes in this direction? Book. The Lord. The Word. Ouch. It's terrible, isn't it? We have been deceived. And I feel better now. Now I don't wrestle with God, right? Why? Because I know God prevails. But then you're not Israel. No, I'm the other. I'm you struggling with wrestling with God. That's Jacob becoming Israel. I'm already there. I don't wrestle with God anymore because I know He always wins. It's foolishness. Remember Gamaliel? Beautiful, beautiful. I say we do nothing. What? We gotta stop these maniacs. Jane, stop this crazy thing. And there's George on a treadmill. That's us. It's going through time. Woo. I really should drink more beer. This thing is like, I have put nothing in. You know what's nice about this? I actually broke down and said, Stars and Stripes. It's July 4th. I'm going to drink some beer that I don't have to doctor up by dumping damn lemon juice or something into it. It's like, that's not even enjoyable. But if you put the lemon juice in it, it is. But it's extra. It should come right out of that womb, 6-pack, case, whatever, exactly as it needs to be. Just like you are. Perfect in every way. In a temple formed not by hands, but by biology and God. It's creepy, isn't it? Is that also like being ready to go the way of all the world? That's an interesting. I like the way you say that, because that sounds like I detect you're challenging me. What is the way of all the world? How do you determine that? I got 2 verses I can throw at that. No, you're good. If I say challenging me, don't think it is a bad thing. It's like a good thing. I welcome it. I don't mean it as a bad challenge. I just mean like you're like, throw some more in here. I want some more, right? You want a challenge, I guess is what you're saying. And or what I'm saying as well. You see how that works? We're in unison. So, what was I saying now? The go the way of the world. There's different scriptures that apply to that, right? When the Lord said, "For dust you are, and dust you shall be," well, that term that's used for world is earth. Dust, earth. What does it mean then to go the way of the world? Well, if I understand that I am dust and that till dust I shall return, I don't know. I guess it kind of changes things about how I might live my life. If and at what level that I take it. When I understand that I am just a pile of dust in lacking any spirit to mobilize it, a soul, breath of life, whatever you want to call it, I'm just a pile of dirt. So when Jesus made comments about earth, right? He said, let's see. What would it gain you to gain all the earth and have no soul? You would just be the biggest pile of dust that there was, right? You would just be, instead of a little pile, a big pile, right? But here's how you should think of it when you think of earth, right? And God so loved the piles of dust that he gave his only son, and that Son dwells in the earth that is you. Do you use his Son in an honorable way to serve him? Or do you cause a war between a father and a son in a bad way and rebel against him, right? So you said something about being a son of man, and I've got a bit of that lodged in my mind. Oh, you mean as far as you being a son of man? Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, Jesus put it. You know, we think that when we read what he is saying, that there's nothing like hidden in there. You know, like they're going, "Why do you speak in parables?" Wow, man, these parables are misunderstood. The whole book is misunderstood because we don't understand the terminology that he was using to explain, like the connection between heaven and earth, between God and us, right? That connection is literally the Son of Man. And but people are fixated on the idea that Jesus is the only Son of Man. And it's not. Everybody is a son of man. All of us. Well, then, how does that make Jesus special? Because Jesus obeyed the Father to a fault. And see, even though all of us are sons of man, it doesn't stop there. See, the Son of Man is like when it says that one that, you know, when he comes, he must remain for only a little while. That is like you seeing your Son of Man and you making that decision that fast, like in a twinkling of an eye. You don't mull it over on the things of what's the right thing to do in God's eyes. It just kind of comes naturally, right? But, you know, that would be a good Son of Man, a repented Son of Man that is actually then, you know, the Son of Man will always display the attributes of one of the two fathers, right? Either going to be in honor, Father God, or in dishonor of God, the father of lies. The Son always does what he sees the Father doing. So when I've seen you, I've seen your Father, because I just look and see what your works are. And then I go, oh yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good, so that means that he's on the same team as me, right? His Father is my Father, because I can identify with his works. But then what happens if you are the other son that has rebelled? Well, then I see that your father is what? The father of lies? And that makes you then a son of perdition instead of a son of God. The sons, and those sons, you know, as I said, they come from the Son of Man. That Son of Man is led by those two, either of those two spiritual fathers. And that's why it said the sons, well, Jesus says the Son always does what he sees his Father doing, but is that term son plural? You know, it's kind of like the Son always does what he sees his Father doing, but there's a problem. You have to say, which Father are you referring to? It doesn't matter which Father, it still fits. But that's how you'll know them, by their fruit. That's how you then know sheeps and goats, because some are obedient and some are not. And then all of the things that Jesus said start to come into play, where he said, like, you shall not, you can't judge another master's servant. Guess what? There's only two masters. So it doesn't matter which team you're on, you're not supposed to judge the other team, according to Jesus. So where then, how can I can't judge anybody. If I judge, then I've been judged, right? He teaches to let the dead bury the dead. In other words, if evil is truly death, then just let it alone and it'll kill itself off, is what he basically was saying. Even when it takes, when they take of the fruit in Genesis, it says, in the Hebrew it actually reads, and dying you will die. And dying. In the day that you eat of it, dying you will die. Well, dying is a process. that results in death. That's what sin is. It's a process. It's grace. Sin and grace are so linked like this. They're linked like this. You have to sin in order to make grace. So that means that grace is a part of evil. So when it says that you're saved by grace, it's literally is to say you are saved by God allowing you to do a little bit of evil, a little bit, so that you can learn from it, so that dying will lead you towards death, but hopefully you will not certainly die. You will not surely die. Okay? And that whole really and surely, there's a difference between really and surely. Really means real. It happened. Surely means looking like probably and maybe and yeah, definitely eventually. That's the difference. And so when the serpent tempted and all of this stuff, that was a weird thing that happened in there, because that serpent is actually working for the Lord. Okay? That's what his job is. To he wants to make sure that you are doing what you are supposed to be doing. Okay? So how does that work? Well, you find somebody to do the job. And who's that? Ha-Satan. He goes around seeking whom he can catch in his sin. Why? Because then he'll tell God on you. And then God will say, okay, if that's really what's going on, then you take care of it. But don't take his life. You can torture him all you want. But you can't take his life. That's up to me to decide. And so that's what happens. We get beat up in this lake of fire here. And, well, some of us wind up cursing God. And others don't. And those who don't are blameless because they know who to blame. And who do they blame? God. Because he does all things. So for you to be blameless, you have to take all the blame and apply it somewhere else. You have to give sovereignty to God and not take any blame. So then how is it that he does everything through us? How is it that all of this stuff then exists? All of good and evil and life even itself? Through the Son of Man. The Son of Man is in the earth. Pile of dirt that is you. And does he resurrect from death in that earth? Or does he just stay there, hidden? That's even the parable of the hidden talents, the treasures. I buried your Son of Man in the earth and didn't know what it was for. I just figured I'd give it back to you. That's idle spirit doing nothing. That does not make God happy. That is the ship that's in the middle of the sea being torn apart by the winds. That's double-mindedness. Double-mindedness creates war, as in good and evil. Because when you're double-minded, I look at things and I got to make a choice. Which one is better? What if they're so close you can't tell? Do you want to know what I do in that instance? I know everything's good because all things come from the Lord. And you know what I do? I just roll the damn dice. Just like that. And if the dice say do, then I do. If they say don't, then I do the other thing. Simple. That is how easy it is for me, because I trust in this word. I can see how if people actually trusted in it, it works. It's flawless. It is the most beautiful piece of work that there ever was. It describes our world and our lives. You know, when we see the tree of life, what is life? Life is what comes out of you, right? Whatever you create or do, even your children. That's what life is. Well, guess where that stuff all comes from? Well, when a man knows a woman, here comes the fruit, right? When a spirit knows you, here comes that fruit, depending on what spirit that is, good or evil, right? Well, guess what? At the end of it all, you still have life, which is good and evil. It's the same tree. The tree of life is the tree of knowledge. Are you going to study it and separate it and cut it in half? Or do you just live it and trust it? Be a tree. Be a tree. Go love somebody. Anybody. Find somebody that just, they're not too hard to find. They're usually looking like this, like, or, or they got their head down, or they might be crying. Could be stuck on the road with a flat tire. Yeah. I'm getting hungry. I think it's time to make a hot dog or two. Somebody's out there weed whacking. I bet you the temperature is nice today. They said it's supposed to get hot on the weekend. Might be a good day to get out there and chomp on the grass a little bit. I just got to get this thing off my back, man. I can't believe I opened up to page 666. There's got to be a way. They must know. They must be freed from their fear. Oh, this is important. The lot for the east gate fell on Shelemiah. Shelemiah. Wonder what that means. Shelemiah in Hebrew. It's feminine because it ends in AH, which means that it will also have a male or a how do you say it, masculine context. But the fact that it's a woman, it's feminine, and it gets the east gate, that's where everything comes from. The east. Even the day. The Son of Man comes from the east. When it talks about the Son of Man coming like lightning from east to west, that pattern that those four horses take is a lightning bolt, and it goes from east to west. The horses represent your spiritual condition as like waypoints on that lightning bolt. First you're born white horse, you got a crown, you got your dirt, your land, you got a bow, which is your covenant, or a weapon, depending on how you want to look at it. And then you head for the first horse. The first horse is the red horse, given a great sword. Everybody gets that great sword. It's the law of God. It's the word, even the book, right? So this sword can be used to take peace from the earth, and it has effectively done so. Well, guess what happens in the long run? Eventually, you will understand this book, and you'll get the scales. They go on your eyes. They allow you to know that, well, people are going to get whatever kind of wages that they deserve for their day's worth of work, whatever their day's worth is, right? Their day. Day is when you work. Some people are going to get wheat, some people are going to get barley, right? And actually, the people that get barley even get more, which is strange. There's probably something to do with that as well. Smaller seeds, maybe. But I'm thinking that barley probably has less seeds than wheat. because you're actually getting more of it, which is referring to, getting wheat would be like getting bread and doing the best that you could, whereas getting barley would be maybe doing a halfway job or a substandard job, but kind of, you always get something done. Good and evil account for all that happens, so you always get something done. So the barley would represent maybe not as well a job done. So you get more of it, but more seeds, right? And that's the point. Seeds are what you're looking for, not food, seeds. Well, what about the oil and the wine? The oil and the wine are north and south. They refer to oil of gladness, anointing, right? What is wine? Wine comes in two kinds, right? New, old, and in some cases even as bad as vinegar. That wine refers to what? How people work, as per the Spirit and as per the sword, as per the law. What kind of wine is coming, right? And for the person in the north to say, don't harm the oil and the wine, that is an indication and a representation of that person's character, that their spirit understands that those scales, the idea of metering out, of judging things, having judgment, discernment even, right? Well then, but what about the last horse for the Son of Man? Well, you know how it says he's got death and Hades following him? I got 5% battery life right now. And so the death of my phone is following this live stream. So we're about to go. But that final horse, when it says that death and Hades were following him, or that death was following him, there's two things that are going to follow you based on what kind of a person that you are. You're either going to have death following you, or you are going to have mercy and grace following you. What do you leave in your wake? What have you left in your path for other people to see, to follow? Is it worth following? Maybe you know now why they're running in the other direction. Great book. It's going to destroy us. Trust me on that. Unless we grasp a handle of it and take over, which we can do by surrendering. I love you. I love you. Shalom. Shalom.